10. Just a simple digit, but think about how many stories hide behind that single number. What does a 10-year-old boy, a 10-run baseball night, a 10-player fantasy draft, and a list of 10 Asia-Pacific companies have in common? They're all moments where the number 10 becomes a hinge, a point where something flips, a decision is made, a spotlight shines. Let's walk through 6 very different scenes, each anchored by the same digit, and see why that little 10 matters more than you might guess. First, picture a sunny beach in Florida. A teenage lifeguard spots a child struggling in the water. He jumps in, pulls the kid to safety, and the whole town breathes a sigh of relief. That child, he's 10 years old. The next day, former President Donald Trump meets the boy and, in a surprisingly candid moment, says, "I don't know if I'd do it." The Guardian and People both reported Trump's comment, and WCVB noted that he later honored the lifeguard publicly. Why does this matter? Because the number 10 here isn't just an age, it's a threshold. 10 is the age when many kids transition from being little to being taken more seriously by the world. The boy's rescue became a media story precisely because he sits at that cusp, old enough to understand what happened, young enough to evoke protective instincts. Trump's hesitation, captured on camera, sparked a debate about responsibility and leadership. It shows how a single digit can frame a narrative about duty, empathy, and public perception. Now shift to a completely different arena, baseball. On a recent night, a Braves prospect racked up 10 RBIs in a single game, a feat that's rare enough to make headlines on MLB.com. He didn't stop there. The very next day, he launched 3 home runs. 10 RBIs in one outing is more than a stat line. It's a momentum engine. It tells coaches, scouts, and fans that this player can change a game's outcome in a single swing. The mechanism behind that power surge isn't magic. It's a mix of timing, pitch recognition, and confidence. When a hitter strings together a run-busting performance, the brain releases dopamine, reinforcing the approach that worked. That mental boost often translates into the next at-bat, which is why the same player could follow a 10 RBI explosion with a 3 home run blast. The underlying cause is simple psychology paired with physical skill, but the result, a 10-run explosion, reshapes a team's season outlook and a player's career trajectory. Let's go from the field to the fantasy football board. In the latest mock draft, ESPN analysts noted a surprising drop. Puka Nacua and Jeremiyah Love slipped down the rankings after recent news broke about them. In a league where every pick is a gamble, a 10-point swing in projected fantasy points can be the difference between a championship and a mid-table finish. Why does a 10-point shift matter so much? Fantasy football is a zero-sum game. You gain what your opponent loses. When a player's outlook changes by 10 points, managers scramble, reevaluate their strategies, and sometimes abandon long-term plans for short-term fixes. The drop of Nacua and Love illustrates how quickly external factors, injuries, off-field news, even a single bad game, can rewire the entire draft board. It's a reminder that in a world of numbers, 10 can be the tipping point that forces a whole new approach. Next, let's look eastward, to the fast-moving markets of Asia-Pacific. Bloomberg recently compiled a list of 10 companies to watch over the coming months. These aren't just the usual tech giants. They're firms in renewable energy, fintech, and biotech that are poised to ride the next wave of regional growth. What makes a 10-company watch list powerful? It's a curated lens that filters noise. Investors can't possibly track every startup in Shanghai, Tokyo, or Sydney. By narrowing the focus to 10, analysts highlight the most promising catalysts, a new regulation, a breakthrough product, or a strategic partnership. The underlying cause for their selection often ties back to macro trends, shifting consumer behavior, government stimulus, or supply chain realignments. When those 10 companies deliver, they can reshape market sentiment across the whole region, pulling in capital and prompting other firms to follow suit. Now let's stitch these threads together. In each story, 10 is the pivot point, a 10-year-old boy whose rescue becomes a political talking point, 10 RBIs that swing a baseball season, a 10-point fantasy draft shift that forces managers to rethink, a 10-company watch list that guides billions of dollars. The common thread is that 10 creates a clear, digestible unit that people can rally around. Most people think numbers are just numbers, but here's the twist most miss. The power of 10 lies not in its size, but in its psychological weight. 10 feels complete. It's a round number, easy to remember, and often used as a benchmark. In sports, 10 runs feels like a big number. In finance, a top 10 list feels authoritative. In age, 10 marks a milestone. That cognitive shortcut lets us instantly gauge importance without digging deeper. So, why should you care about the number 10 beyond counting fingers? Because it's a shortcut the world uses to signal significance. When you see a headline about 10 RBIs, a 10-year-old rescue, or a top 10 watch list, your brain already flags it as worth attention. Understanding that shortcut helps you cut through the noise and focus on the moments that truly shift narratives. If you found this look at the hidden power of 10 eye-opening, hit the like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the numbers that